I had the wallpaper my mother-in-law hung taken down before she arrived. So I need to back up, because if I just tell you I ripped down wallpaper, you're going to think I'm insane. Maybe I am, but let me get through it first. We bought our first house in the spring. It's small, it's ours, and the one room I actually cared about was the front room, because it has this big window and I'd been planning the color for it since before we even closed. Warm white, nothing dramatic. I just wanted it calm. I was in the hospital for 4 days in June. That part I'm not going to get into, but it wasn't nothing, and my husband Daniel stayed with me the whole time, which meant the house was empty. Or I thought it was empty. His mother, Carol, has a key. Daniel gave it to her for emergencies back when we moved in, and I didn't fight it at the time because I was picking my battles and that one felt small. I came home from the hospital tired and kind of hollowed out, and I walked into my front room, and the walls were green, not paint, wallpaper. This heavy, dark floral thing with these big cabbage roses all over it, floor to ceiling, and a border along the top. She'd done the whole room. I just stood there. Daniel came in behind me carrying my bag and went, "Oh, wow. When did— I don't know," I said. Carol called that night before I could even sit down. Did you see? Did you see what I did for you? I couldn't stand that room sitting empty and sad while you were going through all that. It's the exact paper I had in my dining room for 20 years. I said thank you. I actually thanked her because I was standing in my kitchen with no energy, and I didn't have it in me to start a war at 8 o'clock at night. Daniel thought it was sweet. That was the first fight. She spent her own money. She spent her whole weekend. She was trying to help. And I kept saying, I know she thinks she was helping. And he kept hearing that as agreement. It's just wallpaper, he said. It's my house. It's our house. Right. So where's the part where either of us said yes to it? He didn't have an answer for that, so he did the thing he does, which is go quiet and let it drop, and letting it drop meant the roses stayed up. Every morning I'd come downstairs and there they were, 20 years of her dining room sitting in my front room, and I'd feel my chest get tight before I'd even had coffee. Then last month, she announced she was coming to stay for a week. I want to see the paper in the morning light, she told Daniel. That room gets the best light. And something in me just went cold and calm. I called a guy. He came out on a Tuesday, and it took him most of the day. And it was awful, honestly, steaming and scraping, this glue smell everywhere. Underneath, the drywall was fine. I had him prime it. 2 coats of the warm white by Thursday. The room I'd planned before I ever owned it. Daniel came home while it was still drying and stopped in the doorway. You didn't. I did. She's here Saturday. She's going to walk in, and the first thing, then she'll know what? That you don't come into someone's house while they're in a hospital bed and redecorate it. That there's a line. Saturday, she came in with her bag and her coat, and she walked straight to the front room the way you'd go check on something you left in the oven. She stood in the doorway. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then, where's my paper? I took it down. You took it. She turned around and looked at Daniel, waiting for him to fix it, to explain it away, to tell her I hadn't meant it. That's what she was waiting for. 20+ years, that's always worked. Daniel looked at the floor, and then he looked at her and he said, "It's her room, Mom. It always was." Carol's face did something complicated. "I did that for you when you were sick." "You did that for you," I said. "You did it in an empty house with a key you were given for emergencies. That's not a gift. That's a flag you planted. A flag. You wanted your dining room in my house. Now it's not." She stayed the week. She was frosty for about a day and a half. And then she wasn't. Because it turned out she needed somewhere warm to be more than she needed to be right. And the room in the morning light was exactly what I'd pictured. She still hasn't asked for the key back. I already changed the locks.